Hoping I could pull this thing right out here and turn it and pull it out. Got the old one out. As you can see, it's pretty grimy. I really gotta get some cleaner and clean up some of that. But here's my new one. When I install this one, I'm gonna leave the plugs on until I get it bolted in place. I'm not going to remove any of these plugs until I get that whole area cleaned up, and I'm going to mount the bolts in place and get this thing mounted, and then I'll hook up my lines. Okay, for right now I'm just going to clean it up real good. You guys don't need to see that. I'm just going to get some brake clean up everything. All right. Okay, here's my new compressor. Getting ready to throw it in. I'm going to leave these plugs on until I get it in place. So if you take these plugs off and you try to put it in place, when you turn it upside down, you drain the oil out of it, trying to stick it in there. It's probably a good idea to take these plugs off and maybe drain this oil into a graduated cylinder just to make sure it does have oil in it. Can't always believe that. So that's a good thing to do. Actually, you know what? Nope, I'm going to go dump it out and check it just to check it. That's what I should do. I'm going to go do that real quick inside. I'm not going to do it out here in the driveway because it's nasty. Alright, I'm going to drain the oil out of this new one just to make sure it has oil in it. And I want to see how much oil I got. I'm going to dump it into this glass. And then I got like a measuring cup on this glass just to give me a rough estimate. But mostly I want to make sure it has oil in it. So I'm going to pop these caps off, 10 millimeter. This big hole is the suction side, the little hole is the high side discharge. But I'm going to make sure there's oil in this thing. Let's see how much it is. What is that, about 4?
Yep, right about 4 ounces.
Yeah. Pour this back in the suction side. Just making sure it had oil in it. I'm going to throw these plugs back in it. I'm going to go install it. I just wanted to make sure it had some oil in it. It's a good thing to check. It even says where I bought it from to double check, and they're not responsible and whatnot, so it's got 4 ounces. Okay. Well, I just checked to make sure there was actually oil in my sump. You'd be surprised how many times you pop open one of these things and it says it has oil, but it doesn't. So just a good thing to check. I looked in my book for what the specs should be, and it doesn't tell me. This book sucks. And I looked online, couldn't find it either. This book doesn't even tell you what the torque specs are for the bolts or anything, so this book's pretty freaking useless. So I was looking around. A lot of times on the compressor itself, it'll tell you nameplate data, tell you how much oil it's supposed to have, but this one doesn't. It says oil already added right here, but it doesn't tell you how many ounces is supposed to be in there. And like I said, my book was no help, but I cracked that open and drained it just to make sure that there's actually some oil in it. I'm getting ready to throw this thing in, and I'm going to leave the plugs on until I get it in place. I'm going to mount all my bolts and hook up everything, and then I'm going to hook up my lines and change out the O-rings. Hopefully. Well, at least that's the plan anyway. Let me try to throw this thing in. As I said, you want the plugs on, because right now if I didn't have those plugs on, that oil would be dumping in my face right now. Okay, try to line up these two bolts and hold it. And it's on. Okay. I'm just gonna slip a bolt on, try to hold it. Like I said, I couldn't find any torque specs on this, so I'm just gonna snug it up the way I think it needs to be snugged up. Alright, I cleaned this bolt out. Hopefully it'll go on a little better now. And it does. It slides right on now. Perfect. I'm just going to snug that up. I'm not trying to wrench it down yet. And try to find the threads. There they are. And I got it started. Let me get this one. Couple turns on it. And it's starting to get snug, so I don't want to wrench it down yet. I want to get all 4 bolts in. Then I'll wrench it down a little more. And here's the other 2 bolts for the longer, and as you can see they're the same length, so it doesn't matter which one goes on top or which one goes on bottom. Okay, you try to make it where you can see this one, but the way I did this, the bottom one is right here. It's pretty easy to slip on. Okay, at least I hope it is. That's why I want to leave this loose. Okay, I think that's going in a little better now. I raised up on it, and yeah, it's going in by hand. So that's good. That's what I want, by hand. Now I can snug this up a little bit. That ought to be good. Now I'm going to reach down from the top and put the top one in. Reach down right here. Move this cable out of the way. Stupid cable. I'm just going to reach down and tighten her up. Hopefully, anyway. That's the plan. Let me get this stupid plug out of the way. Thing's annoying me. Okay. I don't have a torque spec for this, so I'm just snugging it up. That'll be good. I'm gonna go get the other 3 bolts now. Okay. Okay, that'll be good. Okay. Alright, I think that's good. Okay. Got my compressor mounted in place. I'm going to pull the plugs on there, and I'm going to replace the O-rings on my refrigerant lines, wipe them down real good. At the store, auto parts store, I bought a Santec AC component. This is just like a O-ring kit for like the whole AC system. Part number is MT2506. But these little gaskets right here, these big old, I don't know, like kind of look like a camshaft lobe. Those need to be replaced too. What you want to do is slip a pick in there, get behind the O-ring, and go around. Oh, slipped out. Freaking hand's probably in the way, but O-ring went flying. There's that gasket. And the way it looks, the part that's sticking up goes towards the O-ring, and this part goes towards the fitting. Anyway, before I open this, I'm going to wipe this down and clean it up. I actually got a little brake cleaner right here, just to help me clean up the surface. This is actually mass airflow cleaner, but that's what I had, so just want to clean up this surface as best I can. I think that looks pretty good. This is not the right one. See how that's a lot smaller? That's for the high side. Make sure you got the right ones. This side that was bent out went towards the O-ring. Oh no, it's not seeming like it's wanting to go on. There it goes. It'll use quite a bit of force. I'll set that one down. Let me find the same size O-ring as this one. Maybe it looks like this one. That's the same size. So, before I slip this on, I'm going to add a little oil to it. Put a little oil in my hand. once I throw this on here. Okay, that O-ring's ready to go. Let me do another dab. Just a little bit of oil. I'll throw this lid on. This here is the suction side. Let me get this bottom plug off. Okay. Now there's a little black plug in there. I'm going to pull that off with some needle nose. But I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but this flange is the new one, and it's real clean. But I'm going to wipe it up real good. Now I'm going to pull this little black plug. Some pliers, just kind of grab a hold of it, and it's fighting me. Pop that plug out. There's a plug. Okay, here's my high side. I'm going to take out the O-ring. Here's that one. I gotta find a replacement. I'm gonna take out this gasket too. As you notice, this part, the tabs face into the metal, and this part faces towards the O-ring. Okay, I'm gonna clean this, wipe this down real good. This fitting here. Gonna clean this up, wipe it down. Okay. So here's the brand new one. You can see the edge faces up towards the O-ring. Oh, they're kind of hard to get on. Let me go grab a socket and pop it on. Okay, I'm going to stick that on. I'm just going to use a socket to kind of push around there. Popped it on. Okay. There's the O-ring. Okay, I'm going to put a little oil on it. Got a little oil on a rag. Just I'll wipe it down real good. Squeeze some out on there. Okay, that'll be good. There's an O-ring on the cap. Probably could have used that one too. But I didn't think of it. I have a kit, so just gonna seat that down. Let it sit for a minute. Hold. Alright. Trying to get my other one on. Alright, I got the bolts in. I just used the new bolts that came with the kit. Alright. Okay, I have all my compressor bolts in, mounted. I have my AC lines done. Now I just gotta swap out my receiver dryer.